Welcome, folks. I am Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK. We're looking at breaking Spider-Man Avengers rights lawsuit against Marvel and Disney. Explain full breakdown from Everything Always. Thank you, Everything Always, for allowing us to react to this. Very, very much appreciated. This news broke a few hours ago, and everybody's talking about it, so I thought, let's look at a video breaking it down. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this video up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Here we go. Let's check this out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. I've been reading about legal documents for the last 6 hours. This morning has been crazy. There are lawsuits going out on both sides. People like Steve Ditko's son and the representation of their estate filing for a termination of copyright for characters like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. In layperson's terms, that means that the creator, the original drawer, Steve Ditko's son, wants the copyright back for those characters. You also have Marvel suing, throwing out lawsuits in order to keep the rights to Avengers. Everyone from Iron Man to Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, and it all comes down to one phrase, work for hire, and what's included in another phrase, the Marvel method. I'm going to break down exactly what those last two terms are, what's going on with these lawsuits, why Marvel is countersuing in their idea, and ultimately, not only what would happen if these lawsuits went through, but what's the likelihood that Marvel could actually lose the Avengers, Spider-Man, and the rest of these, not be able to make movies, and or be indebted in millions in cease and desists, or actually at this point, probably billions. There is so much to unpack here. Like I said, I've been reading all morning. I'm completely caught up. I'm going to break down exactly what's going on with these legal suits, the rights for Spider-Man, who's suing who, and why. But first, if you could maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content here at the channel. Everything from anonymous 4chan plot leaks, all the way to director interviews, Easter eggs, and breakdowns, and the sort of legal news we're covering today as it pertains to the industry.
I'm fairly certain, with 99% confidence, this will all be sorted so that this can continue. This franchise can continue. It's too important.
I feel like this is all about money.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, oh, wait. Yeah, totally. Totally. The guy, whoever's doing this, I can't remember the name of the guy who's...
Ditko's son.
Yeah.
Some last name Ditko.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is just after money. That's it. He just wants a settlement. That's all this is. You know, Disney could afford to buy Star Wars for $4 billion. This guy wants some change. That's all he cares about is just a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
Because he feels like he's due his. And Disney's going to pay for it, whatever it is. They're going to come to some kind of a settlement of some kind.
Yeah, because like Marvel is a massive property for them.
And now they're countersuing because they're probably banking on the idea that maybe he doesn't have the funds to cover that lawsuit.
It's like, let's see how far down this rabbit hole we can go.
Like you're fucking with a giant guy. So, but I mean, let's see what he says here. I'd love.
Yeah, I want to hear the full information.
But my guess right off the bat is that this will all be sorted.
Maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, leaving a comment down below.
I want that.
And if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. That includes PlayStation 5s, weekly Disney Plus subscriptions, and tickets to go see the films when they're out. Okay, so like I said, there is a lot to unpack here, but I'm going to boil it down and basically give you the facts straight through from start to finish before I start weighing in on what I think will actually happen at the end of all this. Here are just the facts. If you saw anything about this story before this video, you saw one of two headlines. The first of which, Steve Ditko estate attempts to reclaim Spider-Man and Doctor Strange copyrights. The second of which, Marvel suing to keep the rights to Avenger characters from copyright termination. As the Hollywood Reporter goes on to report, quote, Disney's Marvel unit is suing to hold on to Avengers characters, including Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, and others. The complaints, which the Hollywood Reporter has obtained, come against heirs of some of the late comic book geniuses, including Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Gene Colan. These suits seek declaratory relief that these blockbuster characters are ineligible for copyright termination, as the works were made for hire. If Marvel loses, Disney would be letting ownership of these characters worth billions slip from their fingertips. They then go on to report, quote, that last month, the administrator of Steve Ditko's estate filed a notice of termination on Spider-Man, which first appeared in the comic book in 1962. Under the termination provisions of copyright law, authors of their heirs can reclaim the rights once granted to publishers after waiting for a statutory set period of time. According to the termination notice, Marvel would lose the rights for the iconic characters in 2023. So to boil all of that down, basically Steve Ditko's son, Stan Lee's son, said, hey, our fathers created those characters. Under what circumstance doesn't matter, because there's the statute that says they can actually reclaim those rights. But Marvel's contention is that it does matter. And work for hire is one of those situations where there is actually precedence in a different lawsuit where this exact same thing had already happened, where when something's made work for hire, they own the rights. And this is where I was talking about in the prologue. It's going to come down to that. It's going to focus on, was this work for hire or not? And the Marvel method, meaning a lot of things are co-created in an open environment, the same way we've heard it is over at Marvel Studios, where you have multiple producers and multiple directors weighing in with ideas, all working together to make it a collaborative process so that the rights really fall within the company's collaborative process, not just one specific person who was paid to make that intellectual property in the first place.
This is so complicated.
I know. I'm just like, holy crap. I didn't realize that it was gonna really get this deep. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it just boils down to how well the lawyers can argue against each other in court, because he said there's a precedent for the work for hire thing, which, like, as I'm listening to this, I'm going, this is really interesting, because this also sets up a whole thing about, you know, like artists. When you create something and then give it to someone else to work on, is it still your own? Can you still call it your own? Like, what rights do you have to it?
It all depends on the contracts. The thing about it is, okay, the rules are different depending on what arena you're in. For instance, if J.K. Rowling just wrote the scripts Harry Potter and didn't ever write the books, her fortune would not be anywhere near as big.
Right.
Because Warner Brothers would own that. They would have bought the script.
Yes.
Right, but because she made the books first,
it's her intellectual property.
Her intellectual property,
yeah.
So she makes way more money off of that, and then Warner Brothers has to go and license it from her at a very, very, very high fee, so they get to make the theme park stuff with Universal and whatever, and get to make the costumes and all that stuff and the toys. With the comic book stuff, all it comes down to is what were the contracts at Marvel at the time? Did it state ownership of Stan Lee? Because it says written by Stan Lee and his name's all over it, you know, and so...
Well, yeah, and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and others, you know, they created these characters, they imagined them into existence, they drew them for the comics, and so how is that different from J.K. Rowling?
It's not. In my opinion, I mean, sorry, it's just not like, for, you know, when you have a TV show like Law and Order or whatever, it usually says the same creator name, like, because this person conceived it.
Yeah.
And they were part of the pilot episode, the first several episodes, to create the tone of it, and then they let people run with it. The new directors, new writers, whatever. But it's still created by the same person.
It's their baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they will continue to get money from it for the rest of their lives, as so long as that series continues, which it does. And so with Marvel, I feel like it's the same thing, where they created this, but it's a very weird gray area, because they created it while at Marvel.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? That it boils down to is this whole idea of collaboration as well, because like he's saying, and like we know, there's so much going on in the writers' rooms, and so many people are involved, the producers, the writers, like the directors.
Who does it say though?
Yeah, it does say that, but like maybe there is an argument that they can make in court that says, well, actually, you know, so much of this was also other people's work. So how can you claim that all of this is yours? We would hate for Marvel and Disney to lose the rights to this, because then it means no more movies, no more shows, and they're doing such a really great job with that. I don't think court gives a damn. They're just looking at, okay, well, what is the law? What has been said? And what is right according to the law? Right.
I mean, these kinds of things can go on for years. Like Superman's powers were part of a lawsuit at one point.
Really?
Because the creator of Superman, like, there was some sort of legal battle, and it's like, okay, Superman's ability to fly, or his ability to shoot lasers from his eyes, like, all these things were nitpicked to hell in terms of dividing up, like, who has the rights to do what with Superman, the intellectual property of Superman. It was even complicated, not that long ago, between Sony and Marvel with Spider-Man.
They worked it out, though.
And like, people are like, oh no, what's going to happen? It's like, they're going to work it out.
Yeah.
It's just, they both stand to benefit. And so likewise here with this creator, it's like, he just wants money.
It's not even the creator.
I mean, the creators
they're heirs, yeah. And I mean, I look at this and I go, oh, I see. Well, at least, I mean, I might be wrong, but it seems to me like the family's going, no, we just want to make sure that we're taken care of, that our kids are taken care of, that our grandkids kids are taken care of, you know.
They're taken care of. They just want more.
We want that house in the Hamptons, goddammit.
That's my opinion, not knowing shit about these people.
I know.
Not knowing shit about how they were treated, not knowing shit about the process of the writer's room and whatever. Like, I have no idea. Like, and they're not even part of that themselves. They're the heirs, right?
Or maybe they just want to make sure that they continue getting paid. Like you
That's
said,
possible
you know,
too.
like they probably were paid and they've probably had a nice inheritance from whatever their fathers gave them. But it is probably something where it looks like all of this stuff with Marvel and Disney is going to be going on in perpetuity, and therefore shouldn't they deserve to be paid in perpetuity for the, you know, intellectual properties that their parents made?
That's if that's what their parents wanted. They didn't do shit though. They didn't create these characters. So
I want it all.
Yeah, it's like, here's the thing. I'm of two minds about it. If it was Stan Lee himself, if it was the creators themselves fighting, I'd have a different feeling about it. But it's their inheritors. And so I'm like, all right, I feel a slightly different way. However, Disney is the company. I love a lot of Disney stuff, okay? So don't get me wrong here. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible in stating this. Disney is the company that turned copyright laws to be different than they are now. It used to be that, like, if you created a work, if I'm not mistaken, any copyright attorneys in the comments, please correct me. It used to be that if you created a thing like Harry Potter or whatever, or any kind of a movie, The Matrix, in 20 years, someone else could make that story, make that movie. They could do their version of it, and they would not owe you a dime because you've had 20 years to make your profits off of that intellectual property.
Oh, yes.
But Disney turned it around and said, no, we want it to be longer or indefinite or something like that. And so now it's like when you copyright something and you're, you know, especially if you're a big company like Disney, they own it forever, basically. At least that's how it seems until they sell it off.
Now, I'm going to weigh in with a couple of ideas and thoughts here. First of all, do not panic, because Disney has more money than anyone else to throw at these kind of lawsuits.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, the estate for Steve Ditko, his Stanley's son, Steve Ditko's son, they see billions of dollars in Marvel movies and know that even if they can get a settlement, that settlement could be worth generational money.
Yes.
And Marvel Studios, Disney, lawyers, that's what they're all looking for anyway. It's all about who needs to get paid for what. However, I will say, and very, very pointedly, that this came up real recently here at the channel within the last month regarding Secret Wars characters and the creator Jim Shooter, who talked about this exact thing. I will make sure to link that video down in the description, down in the comments, and at the end of this video. But Jim Shooter, the creator of Secret Wars and other Marvel favorites, was recently at MegaCon in Orlando in the last month or two and was asked point blank about Marvel Studios perhaps doing a Secret Wars movie, in which he talked about this exact situation where a publicist over from Marvel's publishing team and copyrights called him and asked him to sign a piece of paper that acknowledged it was a work for hire. Basically, a legal document and contract and a waiver for this exact situation. And when Jim Shooter on the phone said, hey, it was a work for hire, what do you want me to lie and say it wasn't? It was. You don't need me to sign that. They're like, no, we're prepared to pay you $10,000 to obtain that recent legal document to ensure this kind of exact thing doesn't happen.
Wow.
What's working in Marvel and Disney's favor, though, is that Jim Shooter readily admitted it was a work for hire, understood the circumstance, much like many of these characters were made under. But first, let me also say, because now it's starting to sound like I'm defending Marvel and Disney and that they should do no wrong. Look, it is not unknown that there have not been favorable treatment of artists over at Marvel, at certain comic book companies, and just art in general is very much undervalued when it comes to these sort of corporate structures. You guys may or may not remember a movie called Life of Pi, critically acclaimed. It was basically all CGI. And after that film came out, won a bunch of awards and everything else.
No, what happened?
The visual effects team basically had to close down their operations. They went bankrupt while making Life of Pi, and then like a whole bunch of people got Academy Awards for that film, but not the visual effects artists, who I don't even think got paid at the time of the Academy Awards. And there was like protests going on and whatnot, and anytime someone tried to talk about it at the Academy Awards, they just got played off of stage. It was so bad. It was a really bad situation. And
that
the DP
is such BS.
And the DP of Life of Pi won.
Yes, I remember that. It's like, yeah, DP. What were you framing?
Exactly.
A blue screen?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not going to undervalue what the DP brings to the table, even in a visual effects bonanza like Life of Pi. But goddamn, that movie was a visual effects bonanza, and they didn't get their due. you know?
I feel so bad. Yeah, I mean, I feel really strongly about artists being paid what they're worth and being paid for their work, because so many people who work as artists, whether you're a musician, whether you're a fine artist, a graphic artist, an actor, a director, whatever, a lot of the time, especially when you're young and starting out, and you have a good idea, people will try and like take advantage of you and pay you really little for what you're doing and then make a buttload of money off it. And you get nothing. It's like, no, like spread it around. You wouldn't have had this thing if you didn't have the artist, you know, to begin with.
There's an argument on every side. The thing about it is those guys who hire the artists are hiring a lot of artists. And it's like, they don't know who's going to pop off. It's lottery tickets to them. I'm not defending the, you know, bad practices, but like these big companies got big gambling on a lot of little guys. And so they have to create these shitty contracts. I mean, they don't have to, but they create these shitty contracts because they don't know who's going to pop off.
Right. So, well, maybe there's like a clause in the contract that's like, hey, if we pop off, we'll give you some money.
Film came out, won a bunch of awards and everything else. The CGI house that did that film actually went bankrupt. Artists are never really, are in this sort of circumstance, are never really given the sort of money that they should be, and that's just the nature of the job. You know, as much as I support Disney and Marvel Studios, I also stand with Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's estate's kids. I understand exactly what they're thinking. Hey, our fathers created that IP, and we are not being reimbursed the way that we feel we should for the amount of dollars that are out there. And so when I report this stuff, no matter how it sounds when I start spitting out facts, it was the same situation with Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and Marvel. Look, you know, there is a bunch of money involved. If Marvel and Disney don't think that they owe that money, they're going to hire lawyers, throw money at it, not want to deal with it. Scarlett Johansson saw money on the table. She thinks she's entitled to it. Hire a lawyer, go get that money. It's a bunch of money. We're talking about millionaires getting more millions. It's just so much, you know, negotiation through the legal process. So that's why I would say don't panic. Again, Disney and Marvel have more money than ever, and eventually they're just going to settle this one way or another. Now, whatever that dollar amount ends up being through compensation, but that's what I just was referring to as negotiation through the legal process.
Get your
because
money!
If they can't get Disney and Marvel Studios to agree to pay them a percentage or rights, they sue for the rights altogether, and then whatever they can get in a settlement is what they would have wanted in the first place. They just go all the way. You have Marvel and Disney countersuing. Man, I am so glad that I am not involved in any of that. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. I'm assuming there's a lot of you who feel the same way, but don't let the headlines scare you. I doubt that Marvel and Disney will ever lose the rights to Avengers and Spider-Man. Technically, Sony would be involved with this as well, but Marvel owns the rights to Spider-Man. Sony actually just has the film rights.
That's right.
Either way, guys, don't panic. It'll probably be all good.
Yeah.
And either way, it would take years for this to play out. I know they threw the date in and lose the rights in 2023.
Yeah, they could just like keep it going in court for a while.
Up in the courts for 10 years.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like when he was saying that stuff about the money, I just immediately thought they kind of had to pull this move. Like the heirs of Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, right? They had to pull this move and kind of, you know, put their balls on the table and be like, boom.
Well,
hey,
lawyers saw money.
We're not messing about. We're going to take it all away from you. You know, we're going to take it all away from you if you don't pay us. And then they have to kind of do like this farce in court where it's like, well, we all know where it's going. So why don't we just sit down at the table and just tell me how much money you want? It's like, no. The first person who gives a number loses. So you Disney, you tell me. And then it's going to go back and forth for a bit. And then they're going to be like, I would like $1 trillion, please. And then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because the guys who are suing, Steve Ditko and Stan Lee's kids, I doubt understand like how all this money gets divided up, because there's a lot of expenses involved, right?
Oh God.
You see billions of dollars in profit, but you're not looking at who's getting paid.
Taxes as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not really thinking. Companies find ways around that through tax shelters. But what I'm saying is people got to get paid. I don't know. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. All I'm trying to say in summary on that thought is that while someone might be making a lot of money, you don't know what expenses they are covering. Every year, the price of Disneyland goes up. And we're like, oh God, fucking Disney, like charging so much, an arm and a leg for the same park that they haven't updated that much.
Oh, did you not see the new Star Wars ride? It was amazing.
No, it was. But like, you don't know what the R&D is getting paid in order to expand the park. Mm-hmm. You don't know how much how much they cost. Maybe the cost of employment like it goes up every single year.
It does, yeah.
Maintaining the park, maintaining the rides. Like you don't know how much all that stuff costs. So it looks like ugly to us on the outside. Like, how can you possibly charge, $1,500 for an annual pass? But it's like, we don't know what's involved in that fireworks show every single night that they pull off.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. It has to be within reason. I'm sure Disney's going to pay them off just to make them go away, but they're going to push back a little bit until they get their like $1 billion or something. It's like Disney's like, no. This is how much
we paid $4 billion for Star Wars.
Yeah.
We're not paying $1 billion for Marvel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But can you imagine if they actually won and all of this stuff stopped?
That would set a crazy precedent. I mean, maybe not crazy, but like
it would be crazy.
It would definitely set a precedent going forward.
Here's what would happen, okay? If they won, if Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's inheritors won, if their kids won, these IPs would be up for auction, basically. Like, who's going to want to buy it now? Like, maybe Sony wants to have all of Marvel characters, or maybe Universal wants to get in on this action because that shit fucking failed with
the Monster Universe.
Yeah, exactly. So someone's going to want to buy it. I think Universal's actually doing the Mario movie. So
I know.
Okay, that's what would happen, right? One of these companies would buy it, and they would do a terrible job with it.
Yes.
Right?
Just let them do the thing that they're doing so well right now.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, I'm not saying Universal's a bad company or anyone else is a bad company. It's that Kevin Feige and all of them got this shit sorted out.
Yeah.
They got to figure it out.
They've got this locked down.
Yeah, I don't personally, even though like Disney's this huge company, I don't want to see anyone else mess with this.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, me neither. I'm like, they're doing so well, and like I can't even fathom the plans that they have, but it's almost like, in Marvel, I trust. Just please carry on doing what you do going forward. I believe in your greater plan.
Yeah. It's the toys, man. It's the toys and the video games and all that stuff. Like
everything.
The everything.
Bed sheets.
The merch in general. They just want a piece of all that. They want a bigger slice of the pie than what they've got. And good on them for trying.
Yeah, I'm not mad at them for trying. Your parents made this amazing thing. And why shouldn't you at least make sure that your family is taken care of for generations to come?
I cannot wait to see the Lifetime movie of this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I can't wait to see the adaptation.
Yeah. Oh my God. Is Disney going to do it?
That would be amazing. I don't think Disney would do that, but that would be amazing if Disney did that. Anyway, this is an interesting situation, but I'm pretty sure it'll all get sorted out. I barely batted an eye when I saw this story came up, but then I saw everybody talking about it. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it too. But I don't think this is going to go anywhere. Like he said, it's going to get lost in the courts for years to come.
And also Disney has the money to just be like, how much did you want?
Right.
Here's a check.
See, I wish that they could just do that. I know that there's a game here where where Disney's like, we're just gonna keep you in court for a long time and see if you can outlive us in court.
Yeah, it's like a David and Goliath situation. They're like, okay.
Yeah, but
go
in this
ahead,
case,
little David.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not just David and Goliath. It's like Goliath, and he's got the U.S. Armed Forces behind him. But maybe they've got money enough from what they inherited in order to fight for some more stake.
But also, a lot of lawyers will work, kind of with the understanding that if they win, then they'll get a lot of money, and if they don't, then they won't. And so they're like, I have to win.
Right.
It's like a lot of personal injury lawyers do that.
It could get ugly, but my suspicion is that this will all get sorted out just fine. And
yeah, probably. They just need an amount.
They don't want Disney to stop making their movies. They wouldn't. It's almost like what Joker said about catching a car. He's like a dog trying to catch a car. He wouldn't know what to do with one if he got one, right?
Well, yeah, because like if they stop making the movies, then yeah, like we said, probably if someone else took it, it wouldn't do very well because they don't have the vision that Kevin Feige and team have.
Right.
And so it would be like, for what? You cut off your nose to spite your face now?
Right. And so they want Disney to keep making the movies and keep making money. They just want a part of it. That's it. They just want a seat at the table. That's it. Just invite them to the party. Give them some money for that house in the Hamptons. Give them an associate producer's credit. Is that a good credit? That's a terrible credit. Oh. That's a credit you get. It's a throwaway credit. That's like a whatever. You made a phone call. That's like an inside film industry joke. It's like, it looks special, but it doesn't mean shit. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm Jaby Koay. This is ACHARA KIRK. Peace out.